The farmhouse was located in a different town. Town was called Karoi, which was about 80 kilometers away from where our training camp was. It was an abandoned farm, and we were to occupy that. Now, I didn't know anything about this abandoned farm or why we were going there, but I soon found out that we were to use that as a launching stage for operations in the Urungwe province where the Viscounts were brought down. And I was very happy with that, because we actually weren't ready to deploy straight into the Urungwe. It was so hostile and so intensely occupied by Nkomo's Zipra forces that we had to do sort of fast raids in at night, out in the next morning. And it was also a place where we could relocate informers and hostages that we rescued. If we didn't relocate them, there'd be retribution and they'd all be killed. So that was the policy. The same day that we intervened and where these terrorists were holing up in villages, that same day we'd uplift all the informers and the hostages and we'd bring them and put them on the farm. We converted the tobacco barns into accommodation for them. And that is an essential part of any counterinsurgency operations that go in. You've got to protect the people whose hearts and minds you're trying to win. If you don't do that, you've got no chance of succeeding whatsoever. So initially I deployed with them, our intelligence unit, which is a special branch. Their mission was to collect information about where the terrorists were sleeping at night, specific, even to the extent of drawing maps with the exact locations of where they were. And these, to do that, they had two former Zanlo, which is Mugabe's mob, two former Zanlo operatives at senior level, and they were sent into these villages to extract information from the locals. And because they were of the same Shona clan, the locals opened to them, and I said, well, if you go this to that and the other hut, there's two that will be sleeping there, and so on, which is what we did. Our first operation, I took 70 of our men, and we walked down the road into the Urungwe during a thunderstorm. Now, the Urungwe was so hot that if you put your foot in there in the daytime, it got shot off. There were landmines, there were ambushes. It was really a no-go area. And we arrived, we had to get to these villages very quickly once the information came out. And I said to the guys, we're not going by vehicle, we're going to walk down there because nobody will expect that. So all 70 of us trundled down the road, and we walked for 30 kilometers till we got to where the village was, and we spent the rest of what was left of the night looking for the particular huts. And what I did was I placed 2 men outside each hut, but to hide. And we initiated the action with by firing an RPG-7 rocket, and we fired it into a store that was owned by somebody who was feeding the terrorists. So it gave him a lesson, and it also went off, detonated with a thunderclap that echoed, reverberated across the hills. So the terrorists that were occupying all these huts knew that there were security forces around, and you should have seen them try to scramble out to run away. Most of them were in bed with the wife or daughter of the villagers, and they came running out there without all their clothes on, and they couldn't wait to get going, but they were taken out. As they got out of the huts, they would be carrying an AK or an SKS or something like that, and they just got nailed. So this happened fairly frequently. There were so many terrorists there that we had a contact every third day.